Hello, hello. Welcome back to Paranormally Correct. I'm your host, Sarah, and with me is my co host.
Rebecca.
And joining us tonight are Javier and Jesus, two investigators from California based team Cryptid 559. Very excited to have you guys here. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So, we have so much to talk about. I know that you have your own channel. And
Yes.
we're gonna talk about a lot of that stuff. I want to get started first, crack off the bat with your earliest experiences. What got you both into the paranormal? Was there a particular experience, or just a general interest?
For myself, it started when I was 10 years old, and me and my family um, witnessed two black triangles hovering over us, and here in California. And from then on, I started getting into UFO and all the alien stuff, and then the ghost also. We used to live out in the country, so we experienced a lot of weird stuff out there, and so yeah, that's how that started for me.
And for me, it all began in fifth grade. There was a teacher that we had that would give us interesting stories, like for example, UFOs, uh, the experiments being done on plants, and supposedly, they would be able to communicate through um, the polygraph. So uh, that piqued my interest. And a couple years after fifth grade, me and my buddy were hanging out at the park, and we were, laying on the grass watching the sky, and we noticed this triangle with three red lights just hovering. And we found that to be very interesting. So for me, that incident sparked, you know, my curiosity in UFOs, the Bigfoots, and the Dogmans.
Interesting, interesting. I love ufology. That's kind of my thing. So it's really exciting for me to hear that you guys started out, like both of you, kind of with UFO sightings.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I know you're from California, and we don't have a lot of people come on and talk about. And I think in general, we don't have a lot of people, in the paranormal community, at least that I know of, talking about incidents and things like that out there. And I know that you all have like a whole different experience because, like, on the East Coast, we got a lot of woods, we got a lot of, it's just so different and so opposite. And I think a lot of people think of cryptids, they think of like Ohio, like Michigan, and things like that. And so it's really interesting to me that you all navigated into cryptid hunting. So, what got you both from UFOs to cryptids?
Um, I was always intrigued, the Bigfoot, the Gibbon Patterson film. I always watched that when I was a kid, also, and I was like, man, that's crazy. There's a big uh, monkey or gorilla walking.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, they had actually a book in the library, and I would always check it out, to read it, and that's what got me into it. I knew about Bigfoot, okay, but then as I grew older and I was in the UFOs and the aliens, but not much into the cryptid yet, just the Bigfoot, and then there was a video that went viral in 2017, and that was from our area. It was about a farmer that had an encounter with the family of Bigfoot on his ranch. And that's what sparked me to go out, me, my cousin, and then later on Jesus, to go out and start investigating and going to these hotspot areas and looking for evidence. And lo and behold, I saw what I saw, and then I saw what I believe was a dogman, and I had heard of dogman, but more like with Midwest. I heard that people were encountering a creature like that in the Midwest and in Wisconsin, all that area. But I've never heard any stories on the West Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
Until I started, when I saw my encounter, I started going on the internet and I'm looking and looking, and And lo and behold, I talked to a couple of people that have been doing this research, cryptid researching in our area. I found these couple of guys, and I started talking to them, and lo and behold, oh yeah, these things have been seen since the 70s. And what? And he goes, oh yeah, we've known about them for a long time. Just people won't talk. They won't talk.
Right. I think people are, a little hesitant when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, and I understand that. I understand.
Yeah, and same with me. That farmer coming out and talking about him witnessing Bigfoots in this area really just sparked that enthusiasm and that desire to go out and investigate, because like Javier said, we don't typically see those types of reports here. We always see them on TV, like for example, chasing Bigfoot. They're always far away, never here in our backyards. And when we saw that, that there was possible Bigfoot sightings here in the valley, literally in our backyards, we had to jump on it and go out and investigate for ourselves. So being out there, boots on the ground, looking for evidence, I feel that we found enough evidence to continue researching and asking these questions. What made this? What do we see here that we can definitively say that it was a person? And a lot of the times we couldn't. We're like, I don't think this was a person. This has to be something else. So that determination to figure out what and how has led us to Javier having his dogman encounter, us witnessing other different creatures or pterodactyls. But there's also prints that we see that we try and compare to our natural uh, uh, the natural animals that live here near us. And a lot of the times it's like strange because we can't pinpoint an exact animal, and that just stays open as another chapter in our investigation. Like, hey, we got this print here, but what is it? We know it's not a local animal or something that we know that should be here, but something definitely made this print. So we'll keep that there for a little while until we could connect the dots. And like him and I, sometimes when we get together, we talk. And for example, we'll have dialogue. What do you think it is? If it's not this, could it be this? And then we sometimes will watch other researchers and their quest to find uh other cryptids, and they're like, hey, could it possibly be a Mothman? And then we go back into our research and then discover that, hey, Mothman has been spotted here in Central California. So now we're connecting the dots.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my curiosity and determination to figure out what's out here in our backyard has led us to creating this Cryptid 559 group. And we're out there. I'm not going to say that I'm out there all the time, because I know I haven't been able to, but Javier's out there with other friends, and researching and looking for more evidence and clues that will lead us to hopefully get a good clear picture of what's out there.
Yeah.
So what areas do you cover, and how far have you traveled? Like, what's the furthest place you've traveled, or the most exciting place that you've done like a cryptid investigation?
Well, we're in Fresno County. We also cover Tulare, Kings, and Madera County. So it's all the Central Valley, kind of. I know I see a West Coast Dogman Project here on the chat. He's actually in Bakersfield. He's in Kern County, so he's south of us, southern from us. So, but we stay in the Central Valley. We don't have to go very far. Everything is here. This is a hot spot where we're going. We got UFOs. We got cryptids. I mean, we got crazy stuff going on, and we don't really have to go far.
Yeah, and I know you guys are probably not too awful far from the Redwood Forest compared to like me, for example. And that's one place that I have always wanted to go and cryptid hunt. Do you think you'll ever make it up there because of all the Squatch sightings and stuff?
I hope one day we can go up
Yeah.
there. That would be
Yeah.
awesome. That
Yeah,
would be
that would
awesome.
be. If you guys go, you have to take me because I've got to go.
Sure. Yeah, of
So
course.
we're talking about like theorizing and kind of brainstorming, which I think is great in the paranormal community, and I think more people should do that. The way that before we came on the stream, we're kind of talking about it for a minute. Um, have you ever come to a point in conversation where you maybe both agree, or maybe one of you agrees, that there is a certain or particular cryptid out there that you absolutely don't believe in?
No, I don't think so. No. For example, we mentioned that our research started off with Bigfoot, and then it morphed into Dogman, and then it's morphed again into the pterodactyl, and then the possible Mothman. I mean, our research has led us to different paths, but we have never disagreed to the point where I tell him, I think you're wrong. Because I like to have that open mind, and I feel he has the same open mind as I do, where like I said, if if my goal is to convince him to believe what I believe, in terms of, look, I believe this, and this is why, because of the evidence that we have found, and I think we have significant evidence to 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 prove that there's this type of creature here. I don't think we've ever disagreed on a particular cryptid.
Mm-mm. No, I don't downplay any stories of people having encounters of
Yeah.
strange creatures. I saw what I saw. They're going to tell me, "Oh, you're crazy," but I'm not going to say that. I know what I saw, and I believe people because this place. I've heard a lot of stories. There's a lot of crazy stuff in this area. Um, Flying creatures. I mean, we saw a pterodactyl. Are you going to believe that we saw a pterodactyl? Also, it's like they're out there.
Yeah, well, I've heard reports of thunderbirds.
Okay,
You guys ever heard of
thunderbirds.
the thunderbirds?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have
Yeah.
reports of thunderbird here, but
Yeah,
the thunderbird has feathers, from what I know.
yeah,
Okay,
Mhm.
what we saw was a dinosaur. It did not have feathers. It had, it was a pterodactyl.
yeah.
It had like a leathery skin. And it's
Mhm.
interesting because we were in the area where Javier had his Dogman encounter, and we were not expecting to see no bird, no nothing. I mean, it just happened out of the blue, and it almost seemed like we only had like a few seconds to see this thing fly away.
Yeah,
And I mean, like, I wish I would have had a camera ready, like
yeah.
ready to go, but I mean,
We had just
it's
gotten there. We were just getting
yeah,
off the vehicle,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
that's pretty amazing. I would love to see something like that because I've never had an experience with like a flying cryptid. I know there's quite a few out there. I mean, really,
mhm,
I think for me personally, like I've had the Bigfoot sighting, and I may or may not have seen a dog man. Other than that, I don't know about
mhm,
personal experiences. But I love that you say that you don't discount witness claims.
mhm.
I think that's a really good thing because, like, even just here on the channel, I've had a lot of people like contact me through email and they say like, I saw this crazy thing, and I may not have the answers, I may not know what they're talking about, but I think
Mhm.
it's important to, yeah, like let everybody have their experience and they know what they saw. And the best thing that we as investigators is go out and kind of explore and search for these answers and things like that. It's great that you guys don't
Good.
discount people because a lot of people do, you know,
Yeah, no, yeah,
and
And it
it's, go ahead.
and it's cool that we give everybody the opportunity to talk about their experiences, because it may not make sense right there and then, but later down the road when we're doing other research, we can connect the dots, like, wait a minute. An example is, Javier had his Dogman encounter, and he gave very thorough detail of what he saw. And then you go to another YouTuber's channel, and he has a guest, and he's talking about the same thing that Javier talked about. And like, wait a minute, he's hitting the mark on the build, the details. I mean, this other person also saw the same thing Javier saw. So now we're plotting it on the map, and like, okay, we see some kind of linear line, and it takes us again. Our investigation again evolves, and then we're thinking about the ley lines, the power grids. What is it that these creatures? What is their migration pattern, if they have any? So I mean, again, we have to all have an open mind to this all, because I mean, we're all investigating. I mean, we still don't have that definitive proof, and I mean, in the end, that's what we want.
That is a great way to approach it.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into sightings and encounters and experiences, because that's what I really, I'm excited to hear you guys talk about. So, like, which one had the biggest encounter first, or, like, tell us about your encounters.
Okay. Well, we'll start with the Dogman if you want to bring up the pictures. That way we can show you the area.
Okay.
That first picture. And this was back in when we heard the video. We started going out in 2017 out to this area. There's a lake out there, and it's called Avocado Lake. And down the street from there, there's another small park where people go and fish or swim, and that's called Winton Park. And there's a bridge right there. So this is a picture from the bridge. This is how it looks here. On the next slide, you'll see my on the next picture, if you can. There you go. This is where we park. Okay, so it's a turnout right here by along the bridge and along the river. The river is called Kings River, and that river goes down to the valley floor. And so what happened this particular evening, it was me and my cousin. We had just gotten some night vision goggles. Nothing spectacular. These were game, like the Nerf brand, the ones the kids use for with the Nerf guns, and it was a monocular style one, and which actually works pretty good at night. It works pretty good, so we were going to test it out there. And then I had gotten another one, which I think the brand is Spy Point, another kid one, and it actually works pretty good. So we ended up taking them. Me and my cousin, we ended up going here. We parked right here where the van is, and at this time it was getting dark, so we can start using the night vision goggles. And so he gets one and I get one, and we're just messing with them. It's getting dark, so we're messing with them. And he's looking down to the river, and I'm looking at all the terrain, the mountain ranges around us. As you can tell, the mountains aren't very tall right here. So I was looking towards the river, and he was looking down the river, and he actually saw something would look like eye shine. And he told me, hey, look, there's eye shine down below in the river. I think it's eye shine. So we're looking at it, and it's along the river, and it's under this big old tree that's there. So I tell him, well, yeah, it looks like eye shine. I don't know what's down there, but I don't know if, we're thinking, well, maybe it's a Bigfoot, but we're not sure. So I go, well, just keep an eye on it with the camera, see if it blinks or see if it moves. And he goes, okay. So we're next to each other, and I'm in front of the van. So I'm looking with mine, and I'm looking around the terrain, and I actually end up turning around looking behind the van. And I had brought the monoculars down to my chest. And when I turned around, that's when I saw it along on the opposite side of the street, right there where that little, there's a little in the middle, there's a little trail right there in the middle, if you can see it, in between the mountains there, and that little hill, there's that trail. So I turned around, and it was right there. When I turned around and I brought my night vision down, my goggles, it was doing this. And it was on 2 feet, and it was doing this with its arms, like, okay, what am I seeing? But this thing was massive. I can see the hands. It had human hands.
Oh, wow.
Okay? It had human hands, and then you could see all the muscle. It had muscle. It was muscular, so I could see all the outline of it, but I couldn't see the head. It was all black, so it was. I couldn't see the head, so I'm thinking in my head, it's a Sasquatch, and I'm just staring at this thing doing this, and all of a sudden it gets on all fours and it runs down the middle of that trail there on that hill, and it's fast. It's moving fast, and meanwhile I'm not hearing any noise. It's like, what the heck? It's not even making any noise. So it goes up. It runs along that little trail there in the middle, and then where you see that indentation, that crevice that goes up the hill, that's where it jumped up. It jumped up halfways, and when it jumped, it rose its arms, and again I saw the hands, and then I saw claws on it, and I saw all the muscle tone.
Oh,
And then
wow.
I saw the back go down to like a V shape, all the way down to the hips, and then I saw the thighs. They were all muscular. The calves were muscular. I couldn't see the feet. I still couldn't see the head, but I did see like it had like a, what do you call it?
Like a ruff of hair or a mane?
Like the mane. There you go, the mane.
Yeah.
It had like a mane, and then it looked like it also had. What's crazy? It had like ripped shorts to me, like, you know, like Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
It looked like it had that. It's like, what the heck? Like, oh, and I'm still thinking it's a Sasquatch. And then when it did the second time, it rose its hands to grab onto the side of the hill because it was climbing the hill. It turned its head to the left, and that's when I saw the big old snout. I saw the canines, and I saw the pointy ears. And it was looking to the side. It wasn't looking at me. It looked to the side, and I clearly saw it. And then it just turned back, and then it crawled on all fours, real low to the ground like a spider, and it went over that hill. But this thing was at least 8 to 10 feet tall, at least, and then the chest was at least 4 to 5 feet wide, and it never made a sound.
That's insane.
And I did not tell my cousin because he was concentrated on it. I didn't want to lose focus. I wanted to remember all the detail on this. I didn't want to lose visual, so that's why I did not tell him. And he didn't even hear anything, or else he would have turned around. This thing was stealth. It didn't make any noise.
Wow, that's amazing.
And
Yeah,
you can see how close it is. I mean, it was what, 20 yards maybe? If it wanted us, it would have had us. It would have taken us out.
So do you think that it saw you and maybe it startled it, or like what happened there? Were you able to?
At first, I thought it was sneaking up on us. Then later on, I start thinking, you know what? Because I didn't feel like it wanted to. When I was there, I don't remember feeling like it wanted to attack us. I think it was trying to get our attention, because I think there might have been another one down below on the river, and that's what my cousin was seeing, the eye shine. And it could have been a smaller one. I'm not sure, but I think there was another one down there, and it was distracting us because when I had my encounter and this creature went over the hill, I told my cousin, dude, I just saw this and, and this and this and that. We looked down on the river, and there was no more of that eye shine, or there was nothing that he was seeing. It wasn't there anymore. So I think it was just trying to distract us, I think, or scare us off.
Yeah, that's quite possible. So now there's a couple other pictures here. Let me click through this. Is this like a close-up of that same area?
Close up. That's where it ran, that middle line there. There's a little trail there. It ran down that line there.
Okay.
On all fours. And then let's see here. What's the next one here? Yeah. So that's where it went up. So it jumped once from the middle to halfways, grabbed onto the side of the hill, and then it did it again, and then that's when it crawled over the hill.
So now what was your reaction having had this experience? Did you decide that you needed to get out of there, or were you just more intrigued to keep searching the area?
Well, actually, I was excited and a little scared,
Yeah.
but I'm more excited. It was a combination. And I told my cousin, dude, we don't have anything to protect ourselves from what I just saw
Yeah.
out here. Uh, this thing is massive. It wasn't a Bigfoot. I thought it was a Bigfoot. It's not a Bigfoot. It's a werewolf. It's a dogman. It had a head of a dog, and he was upset because I didn't tell him. But I go, dude, I did not want to break visual because this thing moved fast. It was, I saw it. It ran. It went up the hill in less than a minute. It was fast for the
Yeah.
size it is. And then it didn't even make a noise. It was just crazy the way it was moving. It was almost like it was gliding, kind of.
Yeah.
It's weird. It was weird.
That is weird. And, there are a lot of theories out there about what Dogman is. Is he supernatural? Is he flesh and blood? And I don't know. I feel like it's kind of, there's two camps of thinking, maybe more than that. What
Yeah.
do you think that Dogman is flesh and blood, or is he supernatural?
Okay, well, this is the thing. This area, there's a lot of sacred ground. It's native land here. There's sacred areas around this area. Now that we're researching, we find out there's a lot of sacred areas out here. According to the natives out here, it could be a skinwalker. I don't know. So that's another possibility that it can be a skinwalker. And I've asked them, it's like, okay, do skinwalkers get that big and that built? Do they get that huge? And they say, well, the newer generation, it's possible because they're playing with the I don't know, the magic or whatever, the black magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he goes, it's possible. But then again, I don't, we have to consider skinwalkers or dogman. I mean, I don't think it's a werewolf, meaning it's a human. How can I say it? That they have these different terminologies, I guess. What's a werewolf? A human that changes into a wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like contorts, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the movies. I don't think it is. I'm thinking leaning more to skinwalker or a dogman.
Well, but now you said that it maybe had on shorts.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes you wonder, like, because that's not the only time that I've heard a sighting where Dogman was wearing clothing. And it, kind of makes me wonder, like, is this thing just stealing clothes and putting them on to try to, act like us? Or like, is he mimicking us? What's going on with that? Do you have any theories on that? Because that's one of the reasons a lot of people think that it is more werewolf-like and less Dogman-like, because there is a distinction between the two.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell, I don't want to go one way. It could be a possibility of all of them. I don't know. I need to get more evidence, more, and that's why I'm out there. I'm trying to get more evidence. I want to see it in the day. I want to have a day encounter.
Yeah, that would definitely be. It would be less frightening, I think, to see one in the day than to have one creeping up on you at night.
Yeah.
But that's amazing that you talk about it not really making any noise at all. So is this area like? I know we're talking about like kind of like hotspots and stuff. Have other people had sightings of any kind around this particular spot?
Yeah, this is the area where the like I said, the farmer had a family of Bigfoot on his property, and there was a video out there on YouTube that went viral. You can find it there. This area is a hotspot for UFOs. If you go on MUFON database, you'll see a lot of reports coming out of this area. A lot, and it's just a cluster. So it's a big cluster around this Avocado Lake area. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So now, how did this? Was this your very first experience on an investigation, or was this like kind of like where you really got started with Dogman?
This is where I got started with Dogman. Yeah.
So how did this kind of shape you going forward as an investigator? Like what came next after this as well?
Well, after this, I started researching online, and then I ended up finding the NADP, North American Dogman Project. And I ended up signing up with that group. and I've been looking at their encounter, the interviews that they've had, and all the pictures, the evidence that they've collected, and this thing, I really feel like after that, this thing exists. Dogman do exist as Bigfoot do also, and I want to know, are they ancient creatures that have been here? Have they been here before us? Are they aliens? Are they another race? I'm just trying to get more information and find out more.
Right. And I wonder that myself too. Like, how are they maybe related somehow to like extraterrestrials of some kind? That's always something, that comes to mind for me.
Right.
So from this point, did you, how did your investigations go following this? Did it, kind of like, did you start investigating more? Because I know from experience, you can kind of get burnt out if you do a lot of investigations of the paranormal persuasion and you don't get much in return. But then when you have something like this happen, it kind of gives you like a boost. So did you go back to this place, or did you go to what was your next biggest investigation?
Okay, well, what happened after this sighting? Me and my cousin went back the next day in the day, and I go, dude, there's got to be prints. This thing left. There's got to be prints out there. It left. I saw it running. It's around this area. There's got to be prints. We couldn't. I don't want to trespass. That's private land. That's cattle land.
Mm-hmm.
You see the barbed wire fence there. I didn't want to trespass because I've been asking around that area who owns that property, and people tell me they're on horseback. They don't know the names, but they're on horseback and they carry rifles and they don't like nobody in there. So
wow.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going in there because I know that he would have left tracks in there. There's got to be tracks up there. I saw where it grabbed onto the hill and where it went, where it ran. But it's like, I don't want to go in there and I don't want to get shot at. And so we went back and I was looking and we ended up, if you want to get the next picture, ended up finding that print. I don't know if you can see it, but there's another one.
Try to zoom in just a little. So now
it's
hang on just a second.
There should be another one a little better defined.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent you
right there.
This one?
There you go. Can you see it there in black and white?
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, we found that print there, and it was on that turnout where we're parked. Now remember that turnout, it's all compacted soil. So it's really hard dirt. It's dry. So whatever made that print, it must have been pretty tall and pretty heavy.
Yeah, this doesn't look like soft dirt or anything. It even looks a little gravelly and stuff. So I can imagine that anything leaving a print here would have had to really dug in pretty good.
Yep.
To leave that print. And
I'm a size 10. That just dwarfs my foot.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Now we've got another one here. Okay, let me pull that one up.
Yeah, that's another one there. It's kind of hard to tell on that one. I don't know if I sent you another one with the phone in it, but without the.
Give me just a second here.
I might have not.
So now is that the same print?
This is a different one that we found. A different one. Yeah.
Okay. I think the next one I have is in a wooded area, so I don't think I have any more prints.
Okay, I didn't send you the other one. Yeah, so we found a couple prints there on two different occasions. So we know what's still around. Recently, since COVID, we haven't really been up there, maybe like once or twice. There is evidence in the grass that shows that something's been going through there, but no prints. We haven't found any prints.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that one is definitely really pretty good. I look at a lot of prints, and I'm not someone who can really look at prints on the ground and like really tell much about it. But that one definitely is pretty significant. Yeah. Very impressive. So now this next picture, is this in that same area?
Okay, so this is up the road about 7 miles. This is where Pine Flat Dam is. There's a dam out here.
Mm-hmm. And
there's a park next to this dam. Actually, they closed it off, and we were in, me, Jesus, and I think it was my cousin also, Jose. We were hiking in this area. You want to talk about it, Jesus?
Yeah. So we went up there. We were just beginning, and I think this was before his Dogman encounter. So we were out there investigating. The possible Bigfoot sighting that the farmer had, and we wanted to see more. Like, we were curious. We wanted to see something. So we were out there, and we came across these arches, and our research had led us to other people that had experienced arches, and they believed that they were created by Bigfoots. We're still not sure as to why they're being made and for what purpose, but we found that to be very interesting. And not only is that the only arch, there's multiple arches, and sometimes they're about 10 feet tall. So it'd be it'd be hard for a normal person like us to go out there and bend those limbs to get that shape. So again, we're just adding more and more data to our investigation, and hopefully, we're able to figure out what's making these and what's the purpose for these arches being made.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. I was just going to say that, yeah, this is a phenomenon that is everywhere, that everybody ever had like a Bigfoot experience or like a sighting or something. I've seen similar things to this myself, and it's amazing. I mean, because like you said,
Yes.
like, no human is really going to be able to go out there and do something like that. It's crazy. I mean,
And we were invited to Mystical Minds convention a few months ago, and we were able to network with other uh, like-minded individuals like we were. And I brought up the topic of twisted tree limbs, and how we find that to be interesting. And a theory that arose from that conversation was that there might be some energy source that is morphing these the tree limbs to be twisted. So that's a possibility. I mean, we still don't know how how to prove it, other than to find one of these limbs, because we have seen them before in our research. But I mean, we find it interesting, but since we lack the knowledge as to what possible what's the possibility of it being twisted that way, um we didn't know. So we kind of kept it in our notes, but didn't really know what to do with it until we started networking with other like-minded individuals. So now we know. So next time we encounter this, hopefully, my idea is to put like some kind of GoPro out there. I mean, a lot of these places sometimes uh, it's very hard for normal people to make it to these particular locations. So I'd say it'd be safe to put a GoPro there for an extended period of time and just, watch it and see what it does. If something does come and starts twisting on that branch, then we have the evidence that it's an animal or a cryptid creature, or if it's, some energy source that is causing the branch to be manipulated with that twist.
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely really interesting, and that would be fantastic to get some type of camera system set up in that type of area. So now you mentioned something about like, oh, and we were talking about this before the stream too, and I think that's where you were going with it, like portals and stuff, and
Correct.
maybe Dogman or Bigfoot coming through. For people who are not familiar with this kind of theory, could you tell us a little bit about this theory?
Sure. Now, this is my theory. I pitched it to Javier in the past, and we're open to it. Um, there can be locations or areas where it's a high concentration of energy due to crystals, minerals in the natural area, where we have this large amount of energy that creates a vortex or a portal, and this is giving way for cryptid creatures to jump dimensions. And I mean, I'm having a little bit of a difficult time to explain what other dimension this is, but if we just say the dimension is X and they're just jumping from that dimension into our dimension, or they're jumping from X into our dimension, and it gives them a window of time where they're out here exploring, curious. I mean, they're in a whole different world, so they're looking around and they notice people, and people notice them. They probably freak out, run the other way, and there's a lapse or a collapse in the energy, and they're able to go back into their dimension. So therefore, we were able to see them for that brief period of time, but we're unable to go back and see them once again.
I
Again,
think,
it's my
yeah,
theory, but I mean, I'm open to other theories as well.
I think it makes a lot of sense. And, just comparing it to, because I can really only gauge it off my own experiences. But like when I saw Bigfoot, it just kind of, I mean, I told myself, like, well, it's a very wooded rural area. So obviously there's places for this thing to go and hide. But when I think about it, it makes perfect sense that maybe they're just kind of crossing over, maybe kind of in the way that ghosts
Kind
are
of, yeah.
also just like, blinking in and blinking right back out of our reality. And who's to say, that there's only like one dimension or one version of reality? Maybe we're like layers and,
Yeah.
everything's existing simultaneously on different planes or layers. And I think it's an amazing theory. I think it makes a ton of sense, especially in regard to like UFOs, extraterrestrials, ultra terrestrials, ghosts, all that stuff.
Yes. So, Sarah, I want to mention in this picture, so you see the arches now in the background. We discovered this later on while we're reviewing the pictures. There's another one that I sent to you. I think it's a little close up. Let's see here.
This one?
Yeah, there you go. In between the two structures, in the middle of that arches is this. I see a creature there. I mean, I don't know. When we were out there, we didn't see anything. We didn't hear anything. But to me, that looks like either some type of canine, a dog. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And then also we have this.
Yeah, I outlined it there, and you can also see like what looks like the hands in front of it, the black part.
Mm-hmm.
So that was in the middle of those arches in the background, and we never noticed it when we were out there. We didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything.
But sometimes when we're out there, you get the sensation of being watched.
Yeah.
And either sometimes I pick up on it or Javier picks up on it. And we found that that's a good indicator that we should be very careful and to keep a close eye, because I mean, it's that sixth sense that's probably keeping us alive out there while we're doing our research.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, we asked ourselves now when we go out, are you feeling anything? What are you feeling? Sometimes he won't feel anything and I'll feel something, or vice versa. Or sometimes it's both of us right off when we get off the vehicle. We feel it, something's around or something's going on.
Absolutely. And that's something that I've always advocated for as a ghost hunter, and like, in ufology as well, which is a little bit more difficult. But, the best ghost hunting equipment is your own instinct, I think. And, especially when you go out into the woods or, out into nature, I feel like, we have an innate ability to pick up on stuff like this. And there is some science behind it too. There's even a book that kind of goes into discussion of like trusting your gut and knowing when you're in danger. And, that fear is kind of like a gift that warns you that you could be in danger. And
Yes.
so I think, that's, obviously something that's very important to pay attention to. But aside from just personal instincts and stuff, what about like equipment? Do you guys use equipment when you go into the field?
We were taking what do you call it? I forgot the name of it. Is the electromagnetic field detector?
Like EMF detector?
Yeah, there you go. EMF.
Yeah.
We've taken that out there a couple of times. What happens is that in this area there's a lot of power lines. So I'm thinking it's the power lines that's messing with the EMF detector in this area. So there's a lot of energy in this area already. So
Right.
if there's already a natural energy source there with the water, and we have a lot of granite out there, which has crystals in it, and then if it's a natural energy source there, and now these power lines from the dam go through there, I think it's just amplifying the whole area. You know what I mean? It's like a major boost in EMF, electromagnetic energy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it's a hotspot. That's a theory of mine, but maybe that's why the UFOs, a lot of UFOs go there or encountered there. Maybe these cryptids are like the portals. That's what's opening them up. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, we've taken EMF detectors. We've taken voice recorders out there. What else? The night vision goggles. Take them out there. What else is this? I'm forgetting. Oh, the cameras.
Cameras for sure.
Yeah, cameras for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Go ahead.
And even though we have simple equipment, we try to use them as best that we can. Sometimes I like to come up with crazy ideas as to how we're going to use them. As we're having this conversation, I was thinking, well, we're using the EMF reader down below. How can we pick up the energy from above us? So I was thinking right now that you were talking about the energy sources. Like, could we take a balloon filled with helium, uh, get a string that's about maybe 10 feet, and see what the energy readings is up there? And we know that it's kind of crazy down here, but is it even crazier up there? And just those are some of the simple tools that we use, but we try and get the best reading and or data to just validate what our theory is. I know Javier and I in the past talked about renting a Geiger counter just to take it out there, so we know, hey, we're getting a lot of radiation, so that's probably the reason why we're seeing things, or maybe not. We're just trying to collect that data. I know we forgot to mention that we're trying to get better drones. We have simple drones, not the best, but you know what? We're making that move forward to getting better equipment to continue our research and get better data.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, cameras are, pretty much the go-to for outdoor investigations. What about like the thermal cameras? Have you ever tried anything like that?
One of my friends has it, that they go out sometimes with us, and he's used it out there, and it's pretty cool. But in his experience, it's still hard. It's still hard to catch them in there. We're talking about cryptids, but in his experience, it's still hard to get them on thermal.
Right.
And I'm going to go back to the cameras. We had an incident. Well, I shouldn't call it an incident, but an experience where we set up motion detection game cams, and this particular one, and I feel like it was our best one. For some reason, it glitched. Like, whatever was out there didn't want us to capture it or make its presence known, because the sensitivity was right, batteries were full, but every day at a specific time it would stop recording. And again, in the following day in the morning at the same time, it would go back to normal settings. So we found out to be very interesting. We looked at the settings, everything was fine, battery was full, there was no obstruction in front of the sensor to say, well, maybe this is causing it to glitch. We just didn't know. So I mean, that was an interesting experience for us with our equipment and how we could better adjust our cameras to, capture what's going on out there.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like paranormal activity.
Well, yeah, actually,
yeah, and it's
Go ahead.
interesting that you bring that up, because prior to us doing that that investigation, we had been there, walking the perimeter of this. We call it Pictograph Mountain, and Javier was recording on his voice recorder. You could hear us talk, but in the background, you hear chattering and a distinct language. It I know it's not him, and he knows it's not me, and it's a different dialect, and we find that to be very interesting.
Oh, wow. Okay, so go with me here. What if, because you know how they say, like with the Sierra sounds, they've
Mhm.
had language experts listen to that and they found that it matched actual language patterns. I'm not sure what the terminology is, but they could figure out that it did sound like it had a language. It wasn't just random chatter. What if what you're picking up, could be something akin to that?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And of course I've got to take it to the next level and say, is there a such thing as a Bigfoot ghost? And I know that sounds ridiculous. But honestly, I mean, we never know.
Yeah, you never know.
But that's something that I would have to, if I were you guys, I would go out there, I would just do a ghost hunt just for like a baseline, just to see if I could pick up anything paranormal. And then once, like, if you were able to make a connection to spirits or energies or something, maybe they could also give you information on what's going on with the cryptids there. And like, ghost box sessions, EVP sessions. But again, that's just the ghost hunter in me coming out
Yeah.
and getting excited about, the voices you capture. But that's really interesting.
Okay, so I'm sorry, Javier. Let me just bring this up. Maybe a couple months ago, we went up to this area. I mean, just out of curiosity, and correct me if I'm wrong, Javier. There was no oranges in that general area, right? They're not in season, or they weren't in season.
No. They already had picked them.
Okay, so we're around this general area where we captured the voice, the EVP, and we're driving. I think we're driving. Just
we're getting ready to leave. Yeah,
scanning the hillside for any movement, anything that looked out of place. And here comes rolling down a orange from up top of the mountain, like, and I mean, it was a really good size orange. So we don't think it was like a bird flying off with it and it just rolled down. It almost seemed like somebody had thrown it.
Mm-hmm.
So
right in front of the van.
Yeah.
And incidentally, Bigfoot is kind of notorious for throwing things like rocks and
exactly
and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
so yeah.
But then going back to that Bigfoot ghost, I mean, could it have been a paranormal experience, throwing that orange at us to catch our attentions? Because, like I said, I mean, what are the odds of just doing a normal investigation, looking for Bigfoot prints or whatever data we could collect from the hillside, and we get EVPs, and now we're getting stuff thrown at us.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. So
unless it was one of the cows out there, but that's all there is cattle.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, where are these? How are these cows going to jump over the fence and go back and roll it down the hill.
Yeah. Are cows even interested in oranges to begin with?
Yeah.
They're picking oranges. So I don't know. That was a crazy experience there. But Sarah, we made a video. I have actually we picked up 3 EVPs.
Really?
Yes, and one is a different. Like Jesus said, it was a different dialogue. And I what I thought I heard, so I typed it on the internet, and it turned out to be a native language, and it meant a spring, or like a water, like a spring, a natural water spring or something like that. That's what the definition was. Whatever I heard, I typed it in. I can't remember what the wording is, but you can go and watch the video. I actually amplify the EVPs. There's 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is sounds like native language, Native American language, and then the second one is an older gentleman, like back in the cowboy days. It says you can clearly hear it. It says "hurry" or something like "hurry." So
Oh,
you remember Jesus? It says "hurry" or something like "they're coming, hurry, they're coming," or something.
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah, they make it sounds like that phrase. Yeah, hurry, they're coming.
Yeah, something like that. And then there was another one, but I couldn't make out the third one. But I amplified them. It's in the video. I think it's Pictograph Mountain, or the Phantasma video, because there's different stories coming out of that area. That, like I said, there's pictographs on that mountain. There's a Thunderbird pictograph on top of that hill that someone drew a long time ago.
Oh, is that? Do I have a picture of that?
I don't think I sent it to you. I sent you another one. If that one with let's see here. See that one? Yeah, that's a pictograph. That's an actual. That's one of them right there. That's up there.
And just to get the zoomed out version, I thought this was really super cool.
Yeah, so you see, I see a Native American right there.
Yeah, I see what you see. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of weird rock formations. What do you call them? I don't know what you call them. Structures. It's just crazy. That whole area is just a little weird.
Yeah,
there's a lot of depictions with that same style of ink or pigmentation etched onto the side of the rocks. I mean, I wish we had more of those photos, but I mean, it's an amazing experience and an interesting area of this mountainside.
Yeah, we haven't even finished exploring.
We haven't.
That's just
finished.
one part of it.
Yeah, and we've been told that there's like a small pond or a lake. So I mean, it corresponds to that AVP that we had. I mean, the natural spring, like, is somebody trying to tell us, hey, make it to the spring on top of this mountain? Are we going to find more evidence? I mean, this here has really been exciting because we could take it so many ways. We could take it back to Joaquin Murrieta hiding the gold he plundered. We could take it back to Prohibition. Are we going to be? Are we coming across some Prohibition era liquor stashed out there? I mean, there's so much stuff that it's just having the time and go out there again and explore and continue to collect evidence and just build on our experience there and come up with a good idea as to what could possibly be going on there in that pictograph mountain.
Right.
Yeah, Miriam in the chat says, where in California is this? This is in Fresno County, Central Valley, California. I'm not going to say the exact location because of what you mentioned. People go and vandalize these areas. I'm not very careful when we do the videos. I don't like to show the background very much, and I will not give out the exact location to these places. We got permission to be on here, and I'm not going to give out the location.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Whenever people go to locations and vandalize them.
Yeah.
especially
Yeah, the
historical
Mm-hmm.
landmarks.
Yeah, the owner of this property has been very generous to allow us to go up there and do our thing, and we don't destroy any of his property. We try to be very respectful because again, we want to continue to gather information and share it. I mean, we're pretty transparent when it comes to things that we see, and I mean we're curious. We want to put it out there, and hopefully other people and other researchers just like us that are you know just learning how to do this um, help us out decipher some of this awesome evidence.
Sarah, there's another picture there of a tree. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if you see that one there.
Okay, give me just a second. Someone in the comments wanted to know if there were more pictures of the horned figures, and I was just going to let them know to go to your channel, Cryptid 559, and check out your videos.
Go check out the videos. Pictograph Mountain. I think there's 2 videos that we made, and you'll see all the pictographs that we recorded there. You'll see them there, all of them that are up there, especially a Thunderbird. It's another one, Sarah.
Okay.
It's a big tree. Let me see.
Let's see. We did that one.
No,
This
that
one.
yes, that one.
Okay.
So, what do you notice of that tree, Sarah? Do you notice anything with that tree?
It looks like it's upside down.
Correct. Got it. It's an upside down tree, and it's at Pictograph Mountain also. Now, how it got like that, I don't know. I have an idea, but I've heard Bigfoot do that.
Now, were you able to tell if that was actually like broken off at ground level and just flipped over? Like, was there a base or?
I didn't see the base anywhere.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
It does definitely look like it just was snapped off, though.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yep. And this tree, it's an oak tree. So, I mean, this thing was pretty big. You can see me right there. And I told this, dude, this is upside down. It didn't roll down because we didn't see any evidence of it being like it rolled from the top of the hill or the mountain down like that and landed like that. There's no evidence of that.
I would think that if it rolled down the hill, the heavy side would be down, which would probably be the bottom.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
So, and
definitely.
definitely.
Yeah. And to me, it looked like it was placed there.
Yeah, it does.
And we were just walking along trying to get up to the hill, and we came across this area. You can't see it from down below. You can't see it. You have to actually walk into the property.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I've seen other shows and videos on Bigfoot. I think it was in Alaska where they have these upside down trees, and they say it's a Sasquatch that do it. For what reason? I don't know.
Now that's a new one on me. I actually haven't heard about the upside down trees, but that makes a lot of sense.
That kind of makes me want to steer clear of those Sasquatches.
Yeah, so they say it could be a marker, it could be a territory boundary line. I mean, I don't know. But that's the only one we found so far.
Interesting.
And this is all on that mountain. It's happening. It's like we got paranormal, you got cryptids, and I know you got the UFOs. Also, there's a hotspot for UFOs. There's been a lot of UFO sightings around this mountain too.
That is interesting. Now we've got another picture here that I wanted to ask you about. I think I just flipped past it a second ago. This one.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about this one.
Go ahead, Sis.
All right. So this was officially our first time ever going out and investigating. I think we were all excited. we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know what to look for. We were just out there, 2 amateurs, just hungry to take in as much information as we could. So we were walking on this restricted area. It used to be a public park, but I think there was some kind of dispute between the Native Americans that originally owned it and the government. So they said, you know what, we're just going to shut it down. nobody will be able to come in here, you know. So
Yeah,
we
we walked in.
yeah, we walked in. We gathered enough courage, and we just said, "Hey, let's go look." We're from where we're at here. We're not too far from where the farmer had his encounter with the family of Bigfoots. So we said this is a good area, and we know nobody should be here, and if we're gonna find anything, it'll be here. So in this general area, we saw some what appeared to be teepees or blinds for the hunters out there. It looked like a blind, but the interesting part about it is there's no trash. There is no evidence of humans being there at that time. So we were very curious. Okay, you know, we found this. We don't know who made it or what made it, but let's carry on. We took a bunch of pictures, and I didn't see
I
any
didn't
of.
send you that one, sir.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go back to our previous videos, you'll see them. I mean,
Yes, the very
we
first
have
one.
a lot of great pictures there. So we take pictures of those structures or a blind,
Yeah,
and we come across this snapped branch. If you see, it still has greenery, meaning that it wasn't like the tree wasn't ill.
yeah.
It was a healthy branch. So something snapped it. And at this point, you know, we had this feeling. And at this time, you know, we're like, what is that? You know, do you feel it? And we're asking each other, yeah, I feel it, but we don't know what it is. Now, if you zoom in a little bit more, straight down the middle, if
If you
you're
can, if
able
not, go
to,
to the next picture.
right there,
There you go.
right there. What do
There
you
you go.
guys see?
Yeah,
Keep in
that's
mind, it's only Javier and myself at this particular location. Nobody else was there with us other than, you know, ourselves, but we had this eerie feeling that we were being watched, but we just couldn't pinpoint it. And I believe during the COVID, the beginning of COVID, we were all sheltered in place. And Javier was looking through his photos, and he came across this picture. And like, I remember him texting me, dude, remember that feeling you had? I'm like, yeah, guess why? And he just sends me a snapshot of this. Like, that's why. I'm like, oh my God, look.
yeah, you were being watched.
Yes.
I hope he sent that to you during the day because, you know, right before bed, that would have been like, nope.
Well,
Yeah. So, I mean,
yes,
I don't know what you guys see, but I know what I think I see there.
yeah. I don't know if you can.
I think what's interesting about this is like, you know, if you compare this shot to that original one, and I'm just scrolling real quick to try to navigate back to. So in this original one here, you can't really see as much definition, but then once you go over to the black and white version, you kind of start to see that whatever this is has shape to it. That
The
it's
colorized
not,
version kind of looks like it's a darker part of the tree,
Uh-huh.
but in the black and white, it doesn't look like that's part of the tree at all.
No, it's not another tree.
right. That's what I was going to say is that you can definitely see that it kind of tapers around the edge and that it doesn't continue upwards.
Exactly.
And I think if it did continue upwards, we would see a little bit of detail somewhere. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse, but somewhere around this area, we would see some more dark spots. So yeah, that's really strange.
Okay, well, what I can see is between the two limbs up there, you can see two eyes are dark. The two, I don't know if you can see them. Zoom right there. You go. The two little dots. I think those are the eyes. I think that's the right arm, and like Miriam said, it's a right arm, right shoulder and arm, and then I see the fingers, and then I see the the outline of the side of the body to the feet.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I have to say that the head area right here kind of reminds me of a slee stack. If anybody remembers slee stacks, probably not. But if you get that reference, then, if you know, you know. But yeah, that's a very tall entity, whatever that is. What do you feel like it is? What you think maybe it was a dogman or an alien, possibly?
From
To
my personally, the size of the arm and the hand, I feel it's a Sasquatch, maybe a juvenile.
Hmm.
I mean, that's my what I think it is.
Yeah.
Jesus, what do you?
I agree. I think it is a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch.
Mhm. That's what I think.
I cannot unsee the slee stack eyes now. Thank you, Sarah.
I know, right? Like they're totally there. Yeah, no, Bigfoot definitely makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that was one of our photos from when we barely started, and like Jesus said,
That was the first one.
yeah, that was the
Our
first
first
one.
time.
And we didn't even know it. I think till COVID, I was going through our old pictures, and because I started noticing, like, and people were telling me, start looking in your pictures, start looking in the dark places, in the shadows. That's where they hide, in the shadows, in the dark places. So that's what I was starting to do. And of course, anything that was dark or looked different from the environment, I'd take a closer look and start coming up with stuff, start seeing stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that is amazing. So now I think we've got some more pictures, don't
Yeah,
we?
let's see here.
Let me just check here which one comes next. Oh, okay. This one right here. What is this?
That's another location, and that's not far from town. It's just outside of town. Um, this particular area, I was telling Jesus, I would go down this road just outside of town almost every day to take my wife lunch. So I passed through here, and I noticed these. It was behind this abandoned house, or there's nobody living there. It's like, yeah, it's abandoned. The property, the gate was open to this back area of the house, and there's a lot of eucalyptus trees back in there. And I was noticing when I would pass by a lot of these eucalyptus trees, they were changing, meaning I would start seeing the X's and leaners like that one there that I think is a cryptid structure. I call them cryptid structures. So I was noticing him in there, and I told Jesus one day, I go, dude, we got to go check this area out. I think there's something in there. I'm seeing structures in there. So sure enough, one day we went in the afternoon, me and him, and right off the bat, I mean, the video that we made is labeled "In the Trees." It's labeled "In the Trees." You can go see that video. But right off the bat, we were sensing something was around, not just one, but a multiple, multiple. And so we came across this area. So Jesus was getting a bad feeling. You want to talk about your feeling?
Yeah, you know what? I was excited. I'm like, yeah, new area. Let's check it out. I had that that adrenaline going on with me. I was excited, and then we get there, and I'm like, dude, I'm not feeling it. And he asked, like, what are you feeling? I'm like, I'm not feeling it. Like, I feel there's something here, and it doesn't want us here. And if you can tell. I'm far away. I told him, dude, you feel okay. You go. If anything happens, I'll go get help. But I'm staying back here. And
That's the
he
kind of friend you want to take with
Right?
you. One little good help.
safety first. And I think he said just snap pictures. So I was snapping pictures, and he kept on asking, "How do you feel? What do you feel?" I'm like, "I do not feel well. I smell something over there. There's something here." And if you can tell he was over there, he wanted to figure out what it was. I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna stay back here. Like I said, if anything happens, I'll go in there and I'll grab you. But I'm staying back here. I feel it.
Okay,
And
so you see me right here. Uh, I'm going towards this what I call a leaner, this limb it's propped up against a tree trunk, and I'm starting to hear something running away from me, footsteps, a lot of shuffling. I smell something weird, like almost like a wet dog, and then I'm smelling like urine. and then I'm hearing things, and I'm telling Jesus, I'm turning around, I'm telling Jesus, just take hand gestures. I'm hearing stuff. I'm hearing stuff. Start taking pictures. Take pictures. So he does. He's way in the back, and he starts taking pictures. And I'm over here, but in the video, I'm telling you what I'm hearing and what I'm feeling, and I'm sensing that there's something right in front of me, but I cannot see it. I'm looking as hard as I can because I know there's something right by me, and I cannot see it. So in this picture, you see up in that circled up in there with the arrow. Again, this was in the evening. I was going through the photos, and again, I told Jesus, dude, remember this? While you were remember this area where we went out here and check it out. Look what we caught. Well, look what you caught when you took the picture.
Yeah, and the fact that you mentioned the odor kind of makes me think Dogman, even though to me this looks like a primate of some kind.
Mhm.
But everybody who has like an up close and personal Dogman encounter has kind of like the smell to go with it, you know, the really prominent smell. But yeah, this is crazy. I mean, there's, you know, clearly like a shape there. And then in this next picture too, I see that you've brightened it.
Yeah, I brightened it up.
Yeah. So, and so there were two creatures.
Yeah, they don't look the same. I don't know what the one on the right is. I mean, I call it the sand person from Star Wars because the sand people.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, is that a Sasquatch? I don't know. Doesn't look like a dog. Like it has a dog head.
Yeah.
The one up in the tree, I mean, it could be either dog or ape. Like I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The one on the left to me definitely has like primate facial features.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that as well.
See, and people tell me, "Oh no, that's a canine. That's a dog." It's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, to me, it looks very, very primate. I mean, but then the odor kind of makes me think Dogman, so I'm kind of on the fence, but yeah, pretty amazing.
The other one, I have no idea. I have no idea. And I didn't see it. Look how close I am to it. They're both staring at me. It's like, what the
Right.
heck is this guy doing? It's like, I know you're here. Where are you?
Yeah.
Wow. That is crazy.
And then there's a black spot right there.
Yeah, right here. That's what I was looking at. It's like, what is this?
I think that's something else. I just can't tell what it is. I don't know. There's something else. There was a bunch of stuff going on there. It was crazy.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
But you see that one sitting there just staring right at me. It's like, man, he was
Well,
right there. And
Scion, I mean, yeah, she elves, fae, an elemental, like in any of those things could be that thing on the right.
Sock wanted to know how big are they? It seems pretty big, just, you know, kind of just looking at the picture here.
Yeah, I'm 5'9", so it could be as big as me or maybe bigger.
I mean, to me, it looks about 6 to 7 feet.
Yeah.
And that was it was above a little hill there, so it went down and then it went back up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sitting there.
Yeah.
And I even in the video, if you watch the video, I'm even pointing the camera over there in that direction because I know something's there, and just don't see it.
Wow, that is crazy.
And another interesting thing that I'm going to add to this general area, as not far from here, from the house, there's another cluster of eucalyptus trees. And again, it's changing constantly. And we decided to go check it out. We go, we get a sense and there's a feel, but we can't see anything. We were there maybe 30 minutes, just, you know, looking around, see what we can catch, snapping photos. Cars are passing by, and this one truck stops and asks us in Spanish, what are you guys doing? And I'm like, oh, we're just here investigating. Oh, so you guys are looking for that dog that climbs up in the trees.
Oh my gosh.
Like what?
Me and Jesus were, what did you just say?
Yeah, you see, again, we're just connecting the dots. It was
It's like,
so interesting.
and he told us in Spanish. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. It's like,
yeah.
what the heck?
Without us
Wow.
mentioning anything, we're just here, and he gave us,
Because I
you
think I
know,
had told him, oh, we're just taking pictures of the trees.
yeah,
You said it was in eucalyptus trees?
Yes, they're in eucalyptus trees. Uh-huh.
Eucalyptus has always been used in purification magic.
Oh,
wow,
okay.
purification magic.
Huh.
Just an FYI.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a ton of spiritual and supernatural stuff going on in this area that you guys are investigating.
Yeah.
So,
This was down the street from this location
yeah.
where
yeah.
this gentleman just saw us and he stopped and he said, "You're looking for that dog that's in the trees?" I was like, "What the heck?"
Too bad you
And then he,
Like,
can't go camp out there.
no, it's that area was that other one. It's a house is right across the street. And then and again, this is all private property, but it's along the
Right.
road. It's just along the road. But I would have to get in touch with the owners and actually let us ask them if we can just stay overnight. Then they're going to say, why or what for?
Well, see, that's when you just say, okay, listen, I'm not saying it's aliens, guys, but it's aliens.
Right? Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, I would be out there like nonstop. I
Yeah,
mean,
no doubt.
and we've been out there a couple of times after that gentleman stopped us. We made a video about it. Was me and my cousin the first time that stopped there. Made a video. We actually got some pictures, but I didn't even send them to you, Sarah. There's actually a good one that maybe I can send it to you in a bit here.
yeah.
Let's see here. But yeah, it was interesting because that gentleman just stopped and in Spanish told us he's looking for that dog. And then he mentioned something else. As soon as he mentioned there
about
was
a
another.
flying some bird, a big bird or something like that.
Yeah, he said it looked like a bird, but it's not a bird.
Yeah.
That's also in there.
So
Huh.
again, it goes back to that pterodactyl, the possible pterodactyl that we saw when we
Yeah.
were out there by the bridge, just keeping an eye out for that dogman.
So, have you all talked to many locals besides that particular person about possible sightings?
Um, you want to answer that?
Not in the general areas. Where Javier had his dogman encounter, we have talked to a gentleman about the history of the area, but he wasn't from around the area. He came from somewhere else and um, uh, made that his residence, but he was curious too of the history, and he said that he wasn't able to find anything that when he went to the the library out there in Fresno, the Fresno County Library, there wasn't really much information about their town. So the history about the town is being passed on through generation and generation. It's not really on paper. So we found that to be very interesting because there was a lot of uh, mining of the general area there to create that dam at one point. So it's kind of weird that there isn't more written about it.
Yeah, and that was kind of my next question is like, what is the history of this area? Because there's got to be like, you know, something really significant in the past here, or, maybe a lot of somethings, maybe like a civilization at one point of, could be natives, could have been that there was a town there, like, you know, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so that's what's weird. Where I had my document encounter, there's an actual library there for that area. And we went to go ask the librarian, do you have any books on the history of this area? And that's when Jesus, he just mentioned, you got to know, I've asked for them to bring up books to the library here. And they told me, no, I have to go to the Fresno, which is the big city, and go to the public library there, the main one. And you can't check them out. You have to just go there and look for it there. they won't bring anything up this way for some reason. I don't know.
That's really strange.
It's all hush hush.
Yeah. I know you said something a minute ago about the people on horseback. Do you, and I don't know, this is just where my brain went immediately when you said that, is like, what if those people, is there any chance that they could be some type of like authority type people who know what's on this land? Is there,
Yeah.
do you feel like there's any type of secrecy going on by any chance?
Oh yeah, I think so. A lot of property here is cattle land. It's a lot of property in the mountains. It's cattle. It's all cattle land. Who owns it? I don't know. But I think that's. I think it's just a cover up or a food source for whatever's out here.
Interesting.
When we were making the DOGMAN video, this white vehicle actually passed by real slow next to us. It was all tinted windows. It was a white truck with a camper. I don't remember the license plate, but it passed by really, really slow when we were making the video. We're the only ones out there.
I think I remember that video.
Yeah, and then it passed by, and then when we were wrapping up the video, it passed by again real slow.
Mm-hmm.
So we ended up following that vehicle, me and my cousin. So I go, dude, this guy, I don't know what's up with this guy. He's just watching us. So I told him, let's follow him. And we caught up to him. He was heading up to the dam area. And we were staying about a mile behind him, but he noticed us. So he pulled off the road. He pulled off to the side of the road just before crossing the bridge in front of the dam. And so I told my cousin, you know what? He noticed us. We'll just go and cross the bridge, make a U-turn and face him. We'll park and face him and watch what he does on the other side of the river. So sure enough, we pass him. All the windows are blacked out. You can't see inside. So we pass him real slow. We're looking at him. And we go across the bridge, make a U-turn, we park, and we're facing him. But here he comes. He pulls back onto the road, and he's going over the bridge. So now he's coming towards us. And my cousin's all, dude, he's coming over here. Like, okay, well, let him. We're not doing anything wrong. If he has something to say, he can say it. You know, we're not doing anything. So we just parked there, and we're watching them. And I was drinking. I think I had water, and I had some snacks. So I was eating something. I go, just, we're fine. We're not doing anything. So we're just keeping an eye on him. So he passes us real slowly again, makes a U-turn behind us, and then he parks across the street, across from us. So now we're side by side. And I go, okay. So my cousin is he's saying, dude, he's over here. He parked right next to us. I go, it's all right. Just don't worry about it. So we're not doing anything. If he has something to say, he'll say it. So then he rolls down the window about halfway. So you can only see the top of his head. And never says a word. I'm looking at him. Never says anything. After about 10 minutes, he takes off.
Wow. Very reminiscent of the Area 51 white trucks.
Something like that. There you go.
Yeah, that's what that makes me think of.
And it's just weird that the day we're making the video, he shows up there. It's like, okay. I've never seen that truck before. Now, what's funny about it, that truck actually reminds me, we had set game cams up at Pictograph Mountain at different locations. And we have a photo of a white truck that passed through right in front of one of our cameras.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like they're keeping an eye on the area for sure.
Yeah.
And the property owner is actually my dad's boss. And my dad's boss asked my dad, hey, who are these white vehicles on my property? And he thought it was us going in there. And I always call my dad before I go to the property. I tell him, Dad, we're going to be up in the property in case he asks. Your boss asked, well, we're up in there. And I told him it wasn't us, Dad. It's not us. I have that white van. And that's it. So my dad's boss has been seeing these white vehicles on his property.
Well, I think it's time somebody stops one of them and says, what are you doing? Who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you guys up to?
Yeah.
It sounds like they're snooping for sure. I mean, and of course,
And
that
see,
only lends intrigue to the situation.
and that's why I tell you, when we started doing this, our phone started acting up, going crazy. We weren't. We were. I was sending pictures to Jesus. He wasn't getting them till like a couple of days later. Same thing with my cousin. He was calling me. I wasn't receiving the phone calls, vice versa, and stuff was going on with our cell phones. It's like I think you said, Jesus. You mentioned it once. It's like it was going through like what do you call it? Like a filter.
Yeah,
It
like a
was
vetting process. And at times we would have conversations over the phone, similar to what we're doing now. We would just have these long conversations as to, hey, what do you think this is? What do you think that is? And you would hear like an echo, or all of a sudden our voices would just turn into robot voices, and it was so weird. And then our calls would have just dropped all of a sudden. I mean, we're in a pretty good area where cell service is hardly interrupted because of poor signal. So we found that to be very strange.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that is strange. So now, what is this picture here that you sent me?
okay. That's where the gentleman stopped and told us about a dog going up in the tree. So when me and my cousin stopped the first time, I got off. I got off the vehicle, and as soon as me and my cousin got off the vehicle, we smelled rotten meat. It was strong. It's like, dude, there's something here. I was looking for a dead animal alongside the road. I did not see no dead animal. I just told my cousin to start taking pictures. Just start taking random pictures. There's something here. And he took this picture. Now, do you see it, Sarah? I don't know if you see it. I know what I see.
I do see something that I feel like I can identify, but I would like to see the full picture too at the same time. But yes, I definitely see it. I see a
Um,
face.
Yeah.
I see a very distinct nose
Yep.
right here.
Yep.
And then like the little philtrum, I guess is what
Mhm.
that's called there.
Yep. Now, what is that? What do you think of that? Is it Sasquatch, or you think that's a canine?
That to me looks like a canid of some kind
Yep.
for sure.
Yep.
That's a very spooky picture.
And it was staring right at us. It was right again. Again, it was about 10 feet from us, 10, 15 feet from us.
Wow.
And we couldn't see it. All I saw was darkness in the shrub. So you're thinking, oh, it's the shrubs blocking out the light. But I'm glad he took those pictures because you can see it. They were in there.
Yeah.
You can't see with your eyes, your own eyes, but on the pictures, on the cameras, it comes out.
Yeah, that is a pretty amazing picture.
And
And that's
again,
something. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, last week we had a guest on who has what seems to be a dogman infestation. And, me and him talked about that. Like, why is it that you can spot these things? And, he wasn't sure exactly why, but it's, most people don't see them with the naked eye. I mean, and I think that just lends to the fact that these things are apex predators. In my personal opinion, and I also kind of believe, Dogman maybe is flesh and blood, and maybe that's why it has such predator qualities, and who knows, but yeah, amazing picture.
Yeah, and I couldn't see it. I knew there was something there, Sarah, but I could smell it and I can sense it, and we can smell rotting meat, like something was, meat that gone bad. It was strong, and I didn't see no dead animal anywhere. And we made that video there. I think I forgot what in the shadows. I think it's called In the Shadows or something like that. Yeah, and I actually saw something in the tree from my peripheral view. Up in the tree, it caught my attention. Like something ran on a tree limb, and I made in the video. I hear I'm talking about it. Like, dude, there's something that just ran on the tree limb. I could have swore I saw something, but when you're looking, you don't see nothing. But yeah, definitely some stuff was going on there.
Right. Yeah, pretty amazing. Just checking the comments real quick. See if we have any questions or anything. I don't want to keep you guys all night, but I told you I'll keep you on here and talk your leg off. So,
and honestly, I mean, these are the conversations that him and I have at a kitchen table, and we go back and forth. And I mean, I've been taking notes because there's a lot of good information that I've been able to pick up, and it rings with me like, okay, so I'm gonna do a little more digging into these topics that we touched on, because I mean, it's important to at least know about it, because later down the road we might encounter something that we could connect the dots. Again, I know I mentioned connecting the dots, and it's probably annoying, but for our research, it makes sense.
right. Yeah, no, it's not at all annoying. It's like, that's like the greatest way to keep track of things. And I always kept a field journal when I was ghost hunting, because, you never know when something's going to come up that you can compare with something that happened before. And like you said, connect the dots. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And there's other groups. Well, I'm going to say one other group. He has a YouTube channel. It's just him by himself. And he's gone. And we talk to him a lot because he's been doing this for a lot longer than we have. And he's had a Bigfoot encounter that he had. That was a 2-hour encounter that he had. So he knows Sasquatch, but a lot of people contact him from the valley because he, like again, I said, that he's been doing this for a long time, and he gets a lot of the reports. And we talk a lot. There's not very many people that we can talk about this stuff in our area, but we talk to him a lot, and he tells us, hey, there was a report of this in this area. So that's when me and Jesus, hey, we're gonna go check this area out. Maybe we'll find something. We'll start going to this area.
Exactly. And we have a question here from, I don't know if you guys can see that. I put it on the screen.
Have you had another dogman encounter? Actually, not at the lake, but up the river where I had my dogman encounter, where the bridge is. Me and Jesus actually went back out one time in the evening, and I don't know, it was just weird. We saw these huge amber yellow. They were eyes. Okay, there were eyes. We made a video, but we didn't capture the eyes. We saw the little ones. There was a bunch of little eyes along the hill, and what happened was we could only see the eye shine. We couldn't see the body. So, and they were moving, but there were small ones. But then later on top of the hill where I saw the dogman the first time, I saw these huge, and I mean huge, what looked to be like eye shine, amber yellow eyes. And I told Jesus, dude, you see those up there in the top of the hill? And Jesus said, yeah, I see them. But he goes, I don't know if it's something glaring from because we're using the light, a big old spotlight. Because I don't know if it's the light causing a reflection from something there. But to me, they look like eyes. And when I said they look like eyes, they just went like this. It's like, oh, man. And they were huge. And then it just backed away. They backed behind the hill.
I'm telling you, go out there and ask the ghosts. They will tell you what's going on.
Okay.
Because
Jesus is not.
That is wild. That is absolutely wild. Oh my gosh.
And we've had other experiences in that area. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's just that one time when we thought, remember that one time we were in the van, we went and parked again, and we heard movement down below, and it ran to the opposite side of the bridge. And then we got in the van because we thought it ran on the other side of the bridge. So we got in the van and we went over there. Then you told me, hey, there's a car coming. Watch out. There's a car coming on the bridge. Remember you told me that?
Yeah, I remember that.
So what happened is that we parked again in that same area. We got off. I was sensing there was something around again. And I was with my spotlight just shining down at the river. and I heard movement in the grass. I heard movement. I go, dude, there's something down there. I don't know what it is, but there's something down there. So I'm trying to see if I can see it. So I moved with the flashlight. I'm walking in front of the van, a little ways out, and then I hear it run. I hear whatever it was. It took off towards the bridge, and I followed it with my light. Because it was going fast. I could hear the sound, so I'm following with my light. I go, dude, it's going to the other side of the bridge. So we get in the van, make a U-turn, and then Jesus says, "Watch out! There's a car on the bridge. It's coming on the bridge. Watch out!" So I'm waiting. So I stop and I'm waiting for the car to come up in front of us. And I'm waiting and nothing comes up. And I go, and then we go closer to the bridge, and I'm looking. It's like I tell Jesus, "Where's the car?" He goes, "Dude, what you say, dude? Dude, I swore I saw lights."
Yeah.
So he goes, "I swear I saw lights right now." It's like, well, there's no car.
Yeah, and they were bright ass headlights.
Oh wow.
So then we go across the bridge, and there's an open area on the other side of the bridge where cars can go in and make a U-turn. So I go in there, and as I go off the road into this area, all this big old dust cloud is there. And I tell Jesus, "Was that my van that caused this cloud?" Or he goes, "No, dude, that was already here." So we drove into this big old dust cloud, and we made a U-turn facing where we originally parked on the other side of the bridge. So we're facing that area, and we rolled down the windows, and all this dirt's everywhere. And I go, dude. And I'm looking around with the spotlight to see if because I heard it come this way. It has to be around here. So there's nothing. So we wait there for like 10 minutes till the dust settles down, and we don't hear anything. So then we end up getting back on the road and going over the bridge. And I think you took the spotlight and you shined it down. You shined it down to where we originally had parked. And what did you see?
I saw the yellow amber light eyes just there at the bottom, and they were huge, and I estimated about 18 inches apart. And they were just looking right back at us. I'm like, oh my God. And I know we mentioned there was a tree at the bottom near this river. It's actually a fig tree. So that's a food source for whatever is down there.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. 18 inches?
Yeah, about 18 inches.
That's
apart.
Insane.
Because they were huge. I mean, from where we were at to the bottom where this thing was at, I mean, they were spread apart. So Javier wanted me to give him an estimate. And I estimated about 18 inches apart. So this thing was huge, whatever it was.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that's all you saw when you with the light.
Yeah,
right?
just the eyes, the
amber
amber eyes staring right back at us.
I thought at first it might have been, a cougar, but no, not with that. No. It was giant. If it had that kind of eye spread,
it was big.
Yeah, it was just weird. The sound it made when it took off. I know it was big, and it was fast. And then what I'm thinking what happened is that when we got in the van, it went up. It got to the other side of the bridge, and then it saw us making a U-turn with the headlights, and I think it put the brakes on it and turned around, made that dust. As we were crossing, I think that's when Jesus saw the eyes, because I hear that a lot of DOGMAN reports that some of these DOGMAN have these glowing yellow eyes, or they're either red or they're yellow bright eyes.
Yeah,
and I think that's what he saw when we were trying to pass the bridge. I think he saw the eyes again, and he thought it was a car.
Wow. I've got a question here, a two-part question, actually. First of all, in that particular area, do you all have deer, or like what kind of food source is there for a predator? And the second part of my question is, have you ever seen vultures? And if you have, do you ever try to follow them? Because this is something I learned from last week's guest. He said that he follows the vultures, and that he's noticed that wild pigs and deer and stuff like that has thinned out with the invasion of the DOGMAN on his property. So I was just wondering if you guys could talk about that, or if there's anything you've noticed.
In that area, there's cattle. Like I'm telling you, that whole land right there is cattle land. So there's cattle back in there, even though we've only seen one by the bridge, but there's cattle up in those hills. At the river, we've seen the cranes. There is wild boar out there. I believe there is deer, but you hardly ever see them there. But wild boar, they're all around the citrus areas around there, for sure.
And the fish.
The fish, yeah.
Oh, so there is like a food source in a pretty solid food source for a predator.
Yeah.
I just
Wild
thought
turkeys.
Turkeys. That would be another thing that might draw in.
I haven't seen any vultures there in that area. Pictograph Mountain, they're all over the place, but they're not really. Pelican, I seen a pelican once. Cranes, there's cranes there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and that's something that I found to be tremendously interesting because I'm part of NADP, but as far as being like, an avid cryptid hunter, I'm really kind of a novice because my expertise kind of comes in like photography and video, of course. Mm-hmm. But I just thought it was such a genius idea to follow the vultures. And that's what this guy said that he did. And then he could tell, kind of like track DOGMAN around his property.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought that was really interesting. I never heard anybody take that approach to it before. So I was wondering if maybe that's something you all had tried.
No, but that's probably something that we should try next time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe look into that. And I don't know if there's are there people like residential areas nearby this particular spot?
By the bridge there is, but like I said, nobody wants to talk.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and so that kind of shoots my next idea, but I was going to say maybe you could ask around and see if there are like animal casualties, like if anybody has barnyard animals or pets that go missing, or if they've had any, mutilations or anything like that.
Exactly. And that's why I want to get a hold of the property owners across the bridge there, but there's never anybody around. I can't find, nobody wants to say where they live. Nobody wants to. It's like, dude, I can't. We can't get nowhere.
Everybody's acting strange. It sounds like
a roadblock.
Yeah, and then the only one that talks to us is the farmer that had the family of Sasquatch on his property, and obviously he believes in all this stuff, and he's let us on his property. He goes, "Oh yeah, you guys can come out here whenever you guys want. Just let me know ahead of time, and you guys can camp out here." And there's a lot of stuff because on his place there's a mountain. It's a flat mountain on top, and you can see the Avocado Lake from way up there, and you can actually camp up there and just watch. Because I just come out here. He tells us I just come out here and I listen and I watch Avocado Lake at night. There's a lot of crazy stuff up here.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of fun, though.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm dying to come out there and investigate with you all now. Like I'm sitting here thinking, like, how am I going to get out there? I got to get out there. I got to see this stuff. I got to talk to those ghosts. I mean, we get a lot of EVPs down here in town. The Kings River runs through town, and we've actually gone to because we've heard that there's a family of Sasquatch in the river in town, and we went down there and we made a video, and sure enough, we found prints. We found structures down in there, and we've got some EVPs in the video too. It's like we're capturing EVPs. I don't know, are they all together? Do they hang out together? The ghosts and I mean, I don't know.
Paranormal.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're all just, maybe it's like a nightclub type area for all the supernatural creatures or something like that.
I guess
that's funny.
The local hangout spot, I guess, for them.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think we went through all the pictures, right, Sarah?
Yes, I believe we did.
Okay.
We got through all of them.
Yeah.
So, are there any questions from anybody in the chat? Anybody have any questions? Someone says, I wonder why there are mass migrations. Do you all have any thoughts on that?
Well, here in our area, we had fires. In the last couple of years, we had pretty bad fires up in the hills. And I think they pushed them down or they pushed them the other way. But a lot of them might feel that they've been pushed down in here, the valley floor. And plus, right now is the time when the tree fruit is ripening. So they got a lot of food source down here.
Food sources.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing too. They're just migrating with the food sources. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely.
I wanted to add one more thing on the West Coast Dogman project. He asked about another encounter around Avocado Lake. I didn't have one, but my other friend, they were actually doing the investigation behind Avocado Lake, and he witnessed a dogman. He said, he told me, I saw what you saw, and they saw it early in the morning. So he had an encounter. He said he saw the same thing I saw.
Wow. So like in broad daylight then?
Yeah, it was early in the morning. It was, yes, in the daylight.
Wow. How did he describe it? What all did he see?
They were checking behind Avocado Lake is the river, and then it's the citrus orchard. So they were behind the citrus orchard because they saw a bunch of wild boar running in that direction towards the river through the citrus, and they felt like something was chasing them. So they stopped and he went behind and hiked behind the citrus orchard where these wild boars went. And about I'm going to say a half a mile down, he came across, he heard movement next to the river along the bank there, the river bank. He heard movement, so he thought it was a wild boar because he saw black. He just saw black and it looked like hair. And then he noticed that it stopped moving and that it raised its head. It raised its head and its snout, like it hurt, like you can see the ear move, like it hurts, like it had sensed him. And all of a sudden, he's thinking it's a wild boar. All of a sudden, this thing stands up on two legs. And he said he just saw the back, and then he noticed that the ears were pointy, and then it turns the head to sideways, and he saw the snout. And he took off running. He took off running.
Yeah, I would too.
He took off running. He came back to where my other friend was filming, and he told him, "Hey," he was out of breath. I saw it. I saw the dogman. I saw him, and he ran over there. So they actually ended up going back to the area, him and my other friend, just where he actually saw it. It wasn't there anymore, but they didn't see any prints or anything. But he was freaking out.
Oh yeah, I'd say so. I would be too.
And I'll send you that video. I'll send you a link to that video. They made a video about it.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to check that out. Mm-hmm. So we're going on 2 hours here, and I guess we've
already.
Yeah, I told you it was going by.
It always flies by.
It does.
It really does. So, is there anything else that you guys want to wrap up on? Any other stories you want to share? Or?
We have other stuff, other experiences. I mean, we have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I can tell from your YouTube channel, you have tons of stuff, and I've managed to watch a bunch here and there, but I haven't seen everything yet. So yeah, definitely. One quick question:
Sure.
Do either one of you have like a really profound ghost related experience that you could share?
I don't. But when it comes to like the ghost, paranormal activity, I'm very, I'm afraid of it for some reason. I don't know why. I wasn't like that. And I just became a little more sensitive to it, and I really dislike it. I don't know why, but it scares me. And we have another buddy of ours that that talks to us, and he has crazy paranormal stuff that happens to him, and he likes calling me on it, like, hey, this, I just witnessed this, and it's scary, and like, why are you telling me? I'm afraid. And but I don't mind it, but I am afraid of it. And like I was talking to Javier in the green room earlier, sometimes I do see it, but I psych myself out that it was probably just me, me seeing things or misinterpreting things. So I mean, yeah, that stuff really does scare me.
I'm right there with you, and I ghost hunted for a very long time. And I just, one day I was like, that's it, I've had enough.
Yeah.
And I just quit because I just get a lot of bad vibes from it. So I
Yeah.
totally understand. But then there's always the desire, like I can't keep snooping or keep from snooping in it. And, so that's why I keep thinking like you guys have got to do a ghost hunt in that area.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to do that. I wanted to be a paranormal investigator. So back in the early 2000s, that's when the first shows were starting to come out on cable and ghost hunting and stuff. I actually took a class and did all that. Ended up getting married, and we rented a house where I grew up out in the country in the citrus orchard. There was an old house, 2-story old house for just me and my wife. And we experienced so much. Now that I think about it, it was paranormal activity. Back then, I didn't know what it was, but now that I've done all this, it was paranormal activity. We experienced so much stuff that actually we only lived there for about 1.5 years, and we ended up leaving. We were able to buy our own house, thank God. But I mean, it was driving us crazy. It was knocking on the walls in our bedroom every night.
Oh gosh, I hate that.
And on the other side of that wall is a hallway.
Uh-huh.
And then it's the stairs to go up to the upstairs. So my parents would say, "Oh, it's the critters or it's the animals." I said, "No, it's not. It's not, because I grew up in the country. We lived in another country house, and I know what they sound like, and it's not anything that I've heard before. It would just, every time we'd go to bed, it would just knock along the wall, and it's like, dude, just knocking."
Sarah was in the middle of live streaming one night, and a ghost knocked on the wall right next to her head.
Yeah,
on live
actually,
stream.
well, it wasn't next to my head. We never could figure out where it came from. It kind of came from everywhere all at once. But that's actually on one of my live streams from 2018.
Oh,
yeah, you could hear it.
You can hear it very well, and I almost had a heart attack, and I could not wait to get off the stream to see if the audio picked it up. Because here's the thing, sometimes when you have paranormal stuff like that happen, no matter how many recording devices you have going, sometimes they just don't record it for some reason. And I was pleasantly surprised that you can hear that knock in the video. It's a little bit faint, but you can hear it. And I hate when they knock. I don't know, for some reason that disturbs me a little bit. It's like, I can handle EVPs, I can handle apparitions to an extent, but just don't knock on things because it startles me. So I know what you mean with the knock, and it's terrible.
And in that house, Sarah, we had that knocking going on every night, and then we had light bulbs going out left and right. I was replacing light bulbs all the time. Now I understand that the ghosts usually might use that energy and they blow the lights out. I heard about that. So, and then also our alarm in the house, sometimes it would not set. At night we would put it and it would not set. It would say that this window's open or this door's open, and we go and check everything, do it again, it would not set. And then after a while I'd try it again and it would set. So the alarm would go off, it wouldn't set, and then at the middle of the night the alarm would go off all by itself. There's nothing been triggered, everything's closed, the alarm would go off, scare the heck out of us. And then we had a dog, a Dalmatian dog. One night I was in the family room watching the late night news. It was around 10, and she was in the patio, our dog, and she was barking towards the garage. It wasn't what do you call it? It wasn't connected to the house, the garage. It was separated one. It was a
Mhm.
detached garage. So it was staring towards the garage, and she was barking, and she was mad, and I've never seen her that mad. She was just growling toward and looking towards the garage. So I get up and I walk to the kitchen window, and I look to the garage, and I don't see anything. There's our cars are there, but I don't see anything out there. And I go, and she stopped barking, so I go back and sit down. As soon as I sat down, she starts barking again, and she's staring at the garage, and she's growling, and she's mad. She wants to go at it, and I go back into the kitchen, look again. I don't see nothing out there. I don't go outside because the door there's a little there's an entrance, so I can't see if somebody's hiding. When I open the door, I can't see if somebody's hiding next to the door. So I didn't want to open the door, but I couldn't see them through the kitchen window either. So I didn't want to open the door. It's like, there's nothing out there. So I sat back down. As soon as I sat down, she started doing it again. She's growling and barking at the garage. I go, I'm not gonna get up this time. I told her like that. I'm not gonna get up. When I did that, this huge bang like from behind me. It was a loud bang, like it was inside the house. And I jumped up, and she went crazy. So actually, my dog heard it. She went crazy. She was going all crazy, and she was barking towards the garage, and I heard like it was right behind me. And then I run. I actually end up running to my wife, who was asleep in the bedroom. I go, I think somebody's trying to get into the garage. And I think somebody's trying to get into the garage. And she goes, well, turn on the alarm and call your dad, because my dad lived about a couple miles down the road. So we turn on the alarm. I call my dad. My dad and my brother get there in about a minute, and that's when I go out. But back at that time, that the garage door, the springs didn't work, so we had to open it by hand. So it sounded like somebody lifted the garage and then slammed it.
Oh, wow.
But that's what I thought it was. But there was no evidence of that. The cops came out. They went all through the citrus field, and they were driving through all the avenues, and they didn't see nothing.
Oh my gosh. And you say that's why you moved from that place, is the activity?
Yeah. And then one time we were in Fresno, and my brother-in-law was working on a car there, and we weren't home, and it was already getting dark. It was late, and he was working on the car, and then he calls us, and he says, hey, are you guys home? And I go, no, we're in Fresno. Dude, the light in the kitchen just turned on. Is somebody here? I go, no, we're in Fresno. He goes, dude, the light in the kitchen just turned on. There's nobody. Everything's locked. Okay. I don't know what to tell you. And then we ended up leaving after a year and a half, and then my brother-in-law ended up renting that place, and he experienced a lot of stuff after we left. He would work late. He would fix cars, so he'd work late out there, and he was by himself. He worked till midnight sometimes. And one night he told me he saw the Grim Reaper in the driveway.
Oh gosh. And
then that following week he had an accident. He had an accident that following week, but luckily he was fine. But yeah, I remember him calling us and say, dude, I saw the Grim Reaper in the driveway.
Wow. My sister was a nurse for a long time back in the 90s, and she said she saw the Grim Reaper one time. And then they had a death there at the facility where she worked. I've never seen anything like that, but I don't know if I could handle that. Like, I've seen regular old ghosts, but the Grim Reaper, I don't know if I want to see anything like that.
Yeah, and he had cars there, and at that time he had a car there that one of his customers that had passed away. So I don't know if it was related to that car. I mean, I don't know, but yeah. So he experienced other stuff in the house. He heard people. He heard something throwing rocks at the wall from the outside at night when he would stay there. Like somebody kept throwing rocks at the wall. Again with the alarm, he'd call me one time and tell me, "Hey, the alarm doesn't want to set." I go, "Well, do this. You have to go and check everything and make sure everything's closed." And he goes, "Dude, I did all that already. I've set it. It won't set." And then, I closed the door and I looked up at the upstairs and the bathroom light was on. And I haven't even been up there. It's like, dude. nobody ever goes up to there was only 2 rooms up there in the restroom. He goes, the bathroom lights on upstairs. I think somebody's in the house. I go, well, dude, and he was by himself. So I go, dude, just call me back in 15 minutes. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to call the sheriffs. Yeah, I'll call you back. I'm going to go see who's in here. So he goes up there and he checks the rooms. He checks the restroom. The light was on. He turns it off. He goes back down, checks everything. Nobody's in the house. The alarm still won't go on. He looks up again. The light's on again in the bathroom. And he had turned it. I go, dude, I just turned it off.
Oh my gosh.
And he goes, well, dude, I don't know what to tell you, man. He goes, oh, I'm going to go turn it off again. So he goes and then turns it off, comes back down, and then this time the alarm set.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That house is crazy.
Yeah, those are the kinds of situations where you end up having to yell at the ghost. Just flat out tell them, look, I know you're here. I get it. Please stop. Then sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get feistier,
Mm-hmm.
But
and that's what I got the sense that it didn't want us there.
Yeah.
For some reason, they didn't want us there. That's what I was sensing. We had ended up moving our bed into the family room because that knocking would not stop, and I would go to work early in the morning, so I had to get some sleep, and it would just go on every night. So we then,
Did when you moved the room, did it stop at all?
Okay, so well, we didn't hear the knocking. It wasn't in the dining room, but then the house was always cold, like you could see your breath. It's like, dude, and we had the heater on, and it would never heat up.
Wow.
You can feel these different temperature shifts in that house. It's like, come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've experienced those. That's wild when that happens.
It's like we can never get a break.
Yeah.
And then at that time, it's like, okay, enough. We bumped our bed back into the bedroom. I go, enough already. I yelled out because I was already mad because I wasn't able to sleep. I had to leave the TV on so I wouldn't hear the knocking. It's like, dude, enough already. And I even get up one time and knock back. Here, what? What do you want? Knock. And it would knock back again. It's like, man. It's like,
yeah, we had I don't know if it's like an urban legend or like some type of lore that's passed down through the generations, but when I was growing up, I heard about knocking spirits and how you could take a piece of wood, and I guess it in some ways is a form of divination, that you could like communicate by knocking, back and forth, and it's like using a Ouija board or something else like that, but they called them knocking spirits, and you could communicate with the dead allegedly, through these boards. And so knocking is, for some reason, I don't know if it's just because it's easy for ghosts to do, but it's something that they all seem to enjoy for some reason.
That is actually used as a form of divination in mostly smaller communities that have never been, out in the world, I guess you could say. Like I would say, like one of the haulers in Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me tell you one more story. So this at the same house, my wife was working on she was going to school at the time, and she was working on one of her projects, and we had a little office room. And this office room, there was 3 windows. The walls were windows, so there was 3 windows, okay, and they had the blinds. Each window had its own separate blinds. So one night around 10 o'clock, she was in there working on her typewriter back then. I think it was a typewriter or a word processor, and she was working on her report. And I was in the living room, and all of a sudden I hear this bang, boom. And I hear her yell, "I'm here!" I was like, "Oh man!" And I run over there and I go, "What happened? What happened?" And I get there, all the blinds. She said, "I was working on my report, and all of a sudden the blind behind me fell first, and then the next one, and then the next one in front of me."
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yep, and they were not even connected together. Like, what? It's like, yeah. She said it was like a domino effect. And then all of a sudden, I hear this bang, boom. And I hear her yell, "I'm here!" I was like, "Oh man!" And I run over there, and all the blinds. She said, "I was working on my report, and all of a sudden the blind behind me fell first, and then the next one in front of me." Yep, and they were not even connected together. Like, what? It's like, yeah. She said it was like a domino effect. It started behind me, and then it went to this one and the one in front of me.
Holy cow! Yeah, I don't
Somebody
think I
was
can
making
handle.
a statement.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then I put them back up, and they never fell again. It's like, come on. It's like, and
Very
yeah,
strange.
we're out of there.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yep.
All right. Well, it has been great having you both on here.
Yes, it has. We do hope you'll come back sometime.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And keep me updated. If you have any sightings or anything happens out there, I'd love to hear about it. Just email me or whatever. And I'm going to come out there and I'm going to dogman hunt with you guys. It's going to happen. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm going to do it because I
Awesome.
have to.
Yeah, awesome.
But thank you all so much for coming on. And let's get you back on sometime soon and share some more evidence and stuff. And everybody in the chat, don't forget to go to the website, Cryptid 559.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, no problem. All right. Well,
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, guys. That was fantastic. That was so much fun. I truly enjoyed that. I hope that you all enjoyed it too.
That was a
Lots
great
of,
interview.
Yeah, lots of amazing stories and really good evidence. And I really like their evidence. I really do. And their channel is so full of just tons of videos of their
Mhm.
investigations and things like that. And it is fantastic. So be sure that you go check them out. Don't forget, if you enjoyed tonight's stream, to click the like button and subscribe to Paranormally Correct. It really helps the channel. And of course, you want to stick around for spooky content. I mean, come on, who doesn't want more spooky content? So
Be sure to check the description of the video on YouTube. We've got the Discord address in there where you can come and join us and chat, post evidence, post videos, EVPs, stuff about cryptids, anything you want, as long as it's within terms of service.
yeah, so we have this discussion. Can we or can we not have naked Bigfoot pictures?
No.
We're going to find out the hard way, I think. We're going to push the limits and find out. So if anybody has any naked Bigfoot pictures, feel free to share them in the Discord. Because, I mean, at least just send them to me. If you don't want to share them, just send me the Bigfoot nudes. All right, guys. It's been fun. We will see you back here sometime this week. Follow the Facebook page for updates. Turn on post notifications here so that you don't miss any streams or uploads. And until next time, guys, do not get eaten by Dogman.
And certainly don't be abducted by aliens.
And we will talk to you later.
Night.